Howdy y'all, welcome back to another episode of Feed the Beast Lite Pack 3. Today, how's everybody doing today? I'm having a good day. Nobody's here. I've got the cell phone on vibrate, so I can just ignore those calls. We've done some building. I changed up the Tinkerer's area. I just didn't like it. I kind of wanted it to look like a blacksmithy, so I've reworked it a little bit. Still need to do some work. I want to put like a chimney or an exhaust, port, something there for the exhaust fumes from our big smeltery here. But today I did want to talk about the big reactors turbine. Now you should be able to see it turning over there. It's spinning away. I did spend quite a bit of time making all the enderium up, finishing it up, making all the blades. So we are now pretty well powered. I did run a test quarry just to see how it worked. And if we go down and take a look at what we've got down here, the pulverizer is running one speed upgrade because it doesn't do too much. This one only does lapis, diamond ore, coal ore, redstone ore. So it doesn't do too much. These are set all the way up to the resonant. So they have the second level speed upgrades. Both of them do have the second level speed upgrades. Now I haven't done the third yet because I do need to make the cryotheum powder stuff. So I did run a quarry speed 1 upgrade, and everything was able, not only the power, but with the speed upgrades, everything was able to be powered. Now I have not tried a speed 2 upgrade yet with the turbine, but with the one turbine that we're running right now, we're getting 24,077 RF a tick, so we're doing pretty good. So let's go over and take a look at excuse me, how we do this. Now let's start with the big reactor. Now you notice it's a little bit bigger. And the reason for that is when I hooked everything up, I just wasn't getting enough steam or producing enough. If we look at here, this was only reading 600 millibuckets per tick. And I thought it was that maybe they had changed something from this version to the previous version, and they really didn't. My problem was I wasn't getting enough water, so that was the reason that it wasn't producing enough steam. Excuse me. Let me clear my throat there. I got a little frog this morning. That's the weird thing about Texas. It's been, oh God, 90 degrees, 80 degrees, high 80s up until like 3 days ago. And all of a sudden the weather changed. So now it's down into the high 60s, low 70s every day. So that's a pretty drastic change when you get a 20-degree temperature change within a day. Some of y'all people up north probably bitching right now. You wish it was 60, high 60s. But yeah, that's southern Texas for you. So what I had to do is, this is an infinite water source from pressure pipes, and they're pretty easy to make. If we look at it, it's just some iron and a couple of water buckets that gives you an infinite water source. Now you can't, I don't think you can anyways, just like use a bucket with it. Can you? Yeah, no, you do need to pipe from it, which no big deal. You can pump from it. So I had a stack of the world interaction upgrades in here, and I did have a stack of the speed upgrades, but it still was not keeping up with the water. But as soon as I put the stack upgrade in there, it worked fine. It jumped up to 2,000 millibuckets per tick. That's, of course, because I still wasn't getting the 2,000 millibuckets per tick, even though I increased, pretty much doubled the size, added another 4 rods inside. It still wasn't jumping up, because you can see, like right now, I'm only running at 60%, or I've got the rods, control rods. You can see the rod goes down in there and like slows down the power use. So I've got them in 60%. So I don't need it that size. I could have just left it where it was at, which was basically the top was right here, and there was just the 4 rods that we discussed before. The 4 rods surrounded by enderium, liquid Enderium, and then diamond blocks in between each of the rods. So there's, 16 diamond blocks in there now, surrounded by Enderium. So, and then the only change we made was we added the coolant ports. This was the old power tap, which we're not using anymore because this thing, of course, is not generating power anymore. It's generating steam. So we've got two of these reactor coolant ports. This one is set to in. There's another one behind this tesseract that's set to out. So the steam is coming out of that into this tesseract. Okay, so we can see it's set to steam. This one is set to water from the turbine. So this is, we'll show it over at the turbine, but the excess, the overflow water or steam, when it turns into water, is sent out from there back over to here. So it gives us extra water to put back into the reactor. So it's kind of water comes from the infinite water source in, and the extra overflow water shoots in there. So we get the extra water back. It's just recycled. So that's our reactor. Of course, now since we've got this second layer already set up, now we're good for a second turbine, which will take a little while. I need some more. Actually, I could probably make one. I just have to go through the process of putting all the parts back together for a second one. So over here, and I went with a similar look to it. The only difference is, come on, fly. The only difference is I made the glass panels too wide so you can kind of get a better look at the turbines moving in there. Now you'll notice they move faster. The graphics are faster for the turbines. It seems like in this version than in the previous version. And there's some changes to the controls also. We'll take a look at that in just a sec. But around back, I have 3 ports, if I can get back in here. Behind this is where the steam comes in, and it feeds the turbine with the steam that it needs. This is for the water that comes out. It goes back over to the reactor. And this is our power port. It's sending energy to our main network, basically, main power. So that's pretty much powering everything on the base right now, is this giant turbine right here. And this is 9 by 14 by 9. So 9 by 14 by 9. There are 80 blades, and then all of these Enderium blocks. Let me see, there's 8, 8, 8, 8, and then there's only 5 on the very top. Yeah, that's it. And that's the turbine. That's what that's made out of. So all these are the turbine glass. They take 1 turbine housing block and 2 pieces of glass to make that. So you do need a lot of glass to make this stuff out here. I've actually got a little small glass making operation going that supplied all the glass for that. But I still went through a ton of it. So let's look at the turbine control now. One slight change that was not on the last one is these top 2 buttons here. Previous version, of course, if you used it, had the on, off, and then the vent. This sends all the water. This is the exhaust, basically, is the water. This vents all of it, so this tank will never fill up. It'll just send everything back. And then we have vent overflow only, which is what I'm doing. Anything that overflows, it's getting sent back. Or you can close it off completely and not vent any. I don't know why you'd really want to do that, because if you do use this one and you don't somehow drain that water off, then it will slow your turbine down. So be wary of that. But this one's pretty cool. When you first start it up, so you can get the blades up to speed very quickly, you can disengage the coils, which means these Enderium blocks here, or diamond blocks or gold blocks, or whatever you use for your coil. It allows it to spin up, and the coils don't slow it down. So it will speed up a lot faster if you disengage the coils, get it up into your sweet range, and then engage them. So it's a lot quicker to build the speed up, the rotor speed, if you disengage the coils. Just be wary of that. I wasn't really watching, and it shot up past where I wanted it to be. which is around the 1800 range. Because you can see 900 or 1800 RPM is where you want to be. I am just below the 1800 RPM, but I am in the green spot. And you can see we are producing 24,000 RF a tick. And we're using all of our blades. You know, we're at 100% efficiency, 80 of 80 blades. So it's pretty simple. The hardest part, now there is I was going to give you a link to a spreadsheet basically that has, oh God, a ton of different reactor and turbine designs on it, or not designs so much as configurations on coolant, how many rods, size, all that stuff. You know, somebody has really spent some time. And I had downloaded that in the Lite Pack 2, which I used to come up with the designs that I'm using right now. I figured these were material-wise and efficiency-wise kind of what I was looking for. So I picked these, and I was trying to find it again, and I can't find it. But there is, like I said, if you do some research on big reactors, there is a spreadsheet out there that's pretty thorough. I mean, they've really done some work on it to show that the different configurations that you can use. I mean, you don't just have to use this one. I mean, if you just want to go for a really powerful reactor and you don't ever want to worry about a turbine, you could do that. Or for me, I really like this one because it's not using too much of the yellorium, and it doesn't spit out the cyanite very fast, which is okay. I mean, it's taken a while, but really we're at where we should be. Maybe even a little early as far as getting this upped and cranking. But it's a nice power source. The only really other option you have in this pack for massive easy power would probably be solars. And I actually messed around with that a little bit. You can see this one over here produces, 4,000, just over 4,000 RF a tick. And that's the top one. So that's a lot, but that's what our reactor was over here producing before, was producing 4,000 a tick. And honestly, it works all the time, for one. And then second, it doesn't use nearly the resources to put it together. Now, this is a tiny little block, and I made a couple of the, was it the 4s or the 3s? What did I make? Yeah, I made a couple of 4s. And these generate 256 RF a tick. And honestly, my God, this may be cool if you have like applied energetics mod where you can set it to. I've only got one of these things. I thought I made a couple. These are the solar panel ones. Now the first ones aren't too bad. You just make kind of the first one, and then the second one you just make, let me see, the first one is not too bad. It's just wood, some redstone, and these little mirrors. The mirrors aren't too bad. They're just glass and iron ingot. And the second one is just 8. I think it might be better if you could just do, if each recipe was that way, but then you start getting up into the 3 where you've got to make the machine frame with the energy cells in each one. Then higher, you have to make the higher machine frame and the higher energy cell, all the way up until you get up here where you're looking at a resonant energy cell and all the materials to make the previous ones, because each level requires that you have 4 of the previous level plus extra cells. And you can see these things are just a lot of materials. Excuse me, tap the mic there. So it's a long process. It is not, hello, come on, move you. Why aren't you moving where you're supposed to be? It's kind of a pain with this mod pack. I'm not sure. It would be pretty involved to set up automation of creating these in this pack, because there are so many little sub combines, because you have to make all these mirrors first, and it only produces 2, but you need 3, right? So it's like Why do hot dogs come in packs of 6 and buns come in packs of 8, right? It's that sort of thing. So you only get 2, and then you need 3. And then of course on each, and once you get into the 3s and up, then you need different photovoltaic cells, and each one of those requires something different. So you would have to set up one for the mirror. Each of these cells, you'd have to set up one. Yeah, that'd be a logistics nightmare. That may be something I actually try later, just to set that up. Because you'd have to, I don't think I have enough lapis or clay for that matter. I think I would have to set up some way to get clay to be able to do it, because it uses quite a bit of clay later on, and lapis. Now lapis is not a big deal. Of course, we can always just slap a magic crops, which we have the seeds already for, so we could do that fairly easily. Yeah, maybe we'll try that later. But over here, I think I was saying I just wanted to kind of get away. I didn't like the shape of that one. It just was very hard to get in here and use this, so I moved all the basins over here. This makes the blocks. That's if I'm looking for gold, I can go run the zombie pigmen, throw all the swords in there, repair it. I've gotten quite a bit of gold off of those, and then of course all the nuggets, and then we can also set it up to where did that? There it is. I've also set it up, or I can easily set it up. It's not set up right now, but I did before to clear this out. All these were starting to get full, so I cleared these. I can turn into ingots. These, you just fill up your crafting grid, and these will turn into ingots. You can't do that with gold. The only way to get it with this is to put it in your smeltery, and you do that. This is just a nugget, basically a gold nugget. So it takes 9 of these to make a gold bar. But this was darn near full. All these were almost full. You can see we've got quite a bit of the experienced ones right now. I went ahead and expanded this one. It'll hold 256 stacks now. I was pulling those out and putting them up by the enchanting book, but that was really starting to fill up. So I was like, we'll just let it run, because we're not using too much experience right now, but might as well let it grow just in case we ever do. You never know. This over here was producing our glass. It was pulling out of this barrel, pulverizing it into sand, cooking it into glass, then it goes over into our sorting system. It's powered off right now. Got back to over 200 stacks or so of glass, so we're good right now. We should be able to. We should have enough to produce another one. I just have to go through the process of making the Enderium ingots, and we're actually okay on that also, as far as making them. We've got quite a bit of shiny metal, and we're getting the shiny metal, of course, by taking ferrous ore, and if we put that in an induction furnace with the cinnabar, it gives us 100% guaranteed shiny metal. So we throw it in here, put the cinnabar, the ferrous ore in there, and of course it gives us a shiny metal ingot. Then we just throw it back in the pulverizer. These have also been upgraded, and then they just pop us out the shiny metal. And of course it's just 10. Now I made a bunch of the Priotheum dust up in preparation for making that, because you do need the Priotheum dust to make the Enderium ingots. And one of the things we need was sulfur. So I did make a sulfur plant, because that is really the only where's sulfur? Is that sulfur? Where is it? Yes, essence of sulfur. Minechem, I think I said it before, is a little disappointing right now, because a lot of the items that you put in there, not sure why, but they're showing up, they break down into plutonium. That's a lot of the stuff in here that before, because if you remember from last season, I used Minechem to get sulfur. I believe I think you got it from charcoal or coal. I can't remember which, but I was using that to create the sulfur. This year, sulfur is in there. It is one of the elements, but you can't do anything with it, which is a bummer because I do need quite a bit of that sulfur to make the priorithium, because each one requires one sulfur, one charcoal dust, blaze powder, and a redstone makes one of those things, or two of those. It's one or two, something like that. So you need quite a bit of sulfur. Redstone we're okay on. Got 22,000 redstone. Coal we're good on, 39,000. You just pulverize that into the dust, so real easy. And then of course we got plenty of blaze rods. I mean, if we needed it, we could either grow it or. Did I have a plant for blaze rods? Thought I did. Unless I probably used it all up, because now, of course, we do have the auto spawner out there, so we can farm blaze rods as long as we would like now. No big deal. So we're good to go on power now. Like I said, it's running the stuff up top, which is only used periodically. Of course, like right now, it's used more than this stuff, because this stuff only gets used if we're running a quarry. This is set up for auto smelting. There we go. Let's get that out of our mouth. Now, of course, this still collects all the stuff from the mob farm and the magic crops. But you can see this chest is completely empty because this is just our collection for any ores. And of course, we're not getting any of that right now. But 24,077 a tick, that's just our first one. Now we're big enough with our reactor right now that we should be able to run a second one, which would be another, it would be identical to this one basically, so it'd be another 24,000 RF. I'm not really sure, I haven't looked up the power requirements for each of the speed upgrades. I know so I'm not even really sure. Now I know at running speed 1, with the processing going, with the upgrades and everything, that this stays right around, doesn't drop much lower than it is right now. It drops down to about 99.5% full, and it fluctuates back between 95 and 98. It just kind of goes back and forth as it uses the processors, auto processing, and then of course the quarry. But we're running on pretty darn good. I think I'm going to do another test with a speed 2 upgrade, just see how bad it hits us. See what the power drain is. Because I think it's times 5 for the... Do I have them in here? Yeah, it's times 5 for the single one, and it's times 20 for the second one. So we may not have enough power on the second one. For the second one, even with this thing right here. But we'll find out. I'm going to run a test on that. But that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for coming by. I didn't want to build this on video just because, honestly, it was, I kind of figured it would happen. And there was some issues, messing up with the water and me trying to figure it all out and get it all working. But like I said, just remember that you've got to make sure, because that was my mistake, is you've got to make sure that you're feeding this thing enough water. This is, Yellorite's easy. The Yellorium is easy to feed in there. You just stick one in. But the water, you've got to make sure that it's receiving enough water to pump that in there. This may not even be enough to run a second one, but we'll find out, because right now it's just producing 2,000 because that's all it can use. That's the max size turbine over there. You can't make it any bigger. The max you can use, I'm pretty sure, is 2,000 millibuckets per tick, unless that's changed. It does show when you click on it the ability to go up to 4,000. No, I guess you don't. Oh, I thought it did. I could have sworn earlier I saw 4,000. But yeah, like I said, that's the max you can use, is that 2,000. So really, this is the biggest you can make this thing. Even if you wanted to, I mean, it would be great. I mean, if I could double the blades on here and just have this produce 4,000 instead of, or 40,000, 48,000, whatever, that would be awesome. But you can't. It's 2,000, so this is really the max size turbine that you can make. So this is the most efficient for 2,000 millibuckets of steam, and that's what you're going to get is that 24,000. But to do that, you've got to make sure you're feeding your reactor with enough water, because if you don't, it's never going to be able to power that. And like I said, this is double the size we really need. The earlier one where it's four rods, what, 2, 4, 6, 8 diamond blocks, and then you don't need to fill the whole thing up with Enderium. All you got to do is pour it at the top, and then it falls down. So I think it's like 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 buckets of Enderium. Because like I said, you just got to pour it around the outside. Diamond blocks here, here, and here. And that should produce the 2,000 millibuckets per tick as long as you feed it enough water. Oh, rain. It never rains here because I never let it be night. So that's it. I hope this helps you guys out in your own worlds. Don't forget to put a rating on here if you guys enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to slap a like on there if you... Did I already say like? I said rate, so like, yeah. So I'm just repeating myself. If you guys haven't subscribed, of course, that's the best way to find out when I do put out an episode. I appreciate all the comments. I am kind of recording some of these in advance. I think I just put up 7, and that's actually like over a week old when I put it up. So, a lot of the comments you guys are putting out, I appreciate them. Just keep it up. Eventually, when they become consistent enough, I won't record until I get an answer. But right now, I'm just trying to record when I have a chance to record. And when I get around to it, I go ahead and render them and edit them and all that stuff. So this one is actually being recorded probably a week before it'll come out. So that's why I say subscribe, because you just never know when I'm going to put one out, and that's the easiest way to know. So guys, I appreciate you coming by. 24,000 RF a tick we're running right now, and we'll find out next episode how it does with the Speed 2 upgrades. So I appreciate you coming out, and until next time, I will see y'all later.